Hi, this is Scott Cardis. Welcome to this AFI conversation series. I'm sitting down with Shay. Nice to meet you, Shay.
Nice to meet you.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm Shay. My real name is really complicated, so I will not say that. I'll stick with Shay. I'm a graduate student at Yonsei Graduate School of International Studies. My major is International Trade Finance and Management with a concentration in global strategy and management. And I'm doing the double major kind of thing with the International Corporation program with a focus, with a focus or is it concentration?
It's a focus. More.
With a focus on cooperation and development. So, it's very interesting. This is my fourth semester, so it's my final semester. I'm glad that the GSIS school has the optional thesis program thing. So you can choose not to do a thesis or to do a thesis. I wanted to because I do want to pursue a PhD, but it's my fourth semester and it's a little too late.
Oh yeah, and also right now is COVID time, so it's like also very stressful for everyone.
And it's still very difficult to find a good advisor.
Yeah, and we just had our roundtable discussion about your experiences, so we're not going to cover that too much. But a couple of questions about the GSIS program, for example. How well do you think that GSIS program has prepared you for working after you graduate?
Actually, I think it has prepared me quite well. I was very surprised at that because usually in school you just learn a lot of things that you will never use again. But especially this semester and last semester, I took a few courses that I feel will actually benefit and follow me like into my career. One of the courses I'm taking this semester is Innovation and Corporate Transformation. It's a really good class. It's given by Professor Tong Yuno. Mm-hmm. He is actually the CEO of BTS, not 방탄소년단.
Oh, okay.
BTS is a strategy consulting company, I believe. So his course is really interesting. It's very interactive, even though it's via Zoom. It's very interactive. We get to basically try to make like a real life business proposal. Like we actually think of a feasible way of starting our own business and like think of what goes into starting that business. And we have to actually think realistically about it. To the point where I thought, oh my God, we're actually doing this. And then I'm like, no, wait, it's just a course. So that's one of the courses that I feel like would really benefit me. Another course what was it? This semester was Innovation. I'm taking another idea, Digital Business and Digital Trade with Professor Toyoung, I think. I really like her class, and also all the readings she gives us are, one, short and concise, and they're really interesting. They talk about how standards came to be and how businesses get to stay in competition and how they think innovatively and how these innovative thoughts get put into practice and how they're actually used and how these things make standards happen. And how standards is not exactly the standard definition of standard. A lot of standards get into that class. It's weird. But it's a very interesting class. Okay. It's also very interactive and very much discussion based.
Well, that's good to hear. So you feel that like the courses have prepared you well for, in 6 months or whatever, when you graduate, you get your degree.
Hopefully, at least we have the basic knowledge of like the basic concepts. Mm-hmm. Which is, I feel, something that we did not have in the traditional even in my undergrad. I feel like, okay, I know the basic concept, but they're not going to help me in my career later on.
Interesting. And then what resources has the school given you to get a career, to start working as quickly as you can? Albeit, COVID is a bit of a struggle now.
So the school is always trying to emphasize the whole networking thing. They always tell us to go out and meet new people. Now with COVID, it was difficult, but we have the career development centers, the CDC. They're always having forums and career talks. And even now, they're doing it via Zoom, which is really good, but they're not very interesting to me. But I did find a few internship postings on their website. So I do feel like even though their forums and career talks are not interesting to me, their website is very important to visit, because though everything is very much Korean based, you will find something that's targeting international students, and you could find an opportunity where you could apply to a job or an internship where they could accept you even though you don't know much Korean.
So after you graduate, would you try to stay in Korea?
Definitely. Definitely. I will definitely try to stay. I've been actually looking for an internship at least since last winter. I applied to some, but sadly no replies. So I'm still trying.
And with COVID especially, it is like, changing everything.
I mean, to me, I feel like it is true that COVID has hindered everything that we're doing, but I am not very concerned about it here in Korea. Like, I feel like even though everything has moved online, I feel like Korea is still doing a very good job in keeping things offline as well.
I mean, I feel really happy that I'm in Korea right now during this. If I was back home right now, I'd lose my mind. How do you think the job market is for international graduates in Korea?
I think it's very tough because though I really enjoy learning languages. For me right now, it's really tough to get any job opportunities, whether it was internship or an actual job, because you do require Korean, and I'm still like only level 2. I'm still literally just a baby in terms of language. So it's very limited. So you can either become an English teacher or your own like native language teacher, but that can only help you so much. And you really need Korean language. It's really tough because people usually, it makes sense because they do give priority to Koreans, especially now with COVID times. Like a lot, it's becoming very hard to find a job even for Koreans. So I understand if people do prioritize Koreans because it's your country. I understand. So it's making things even more hard for foreigners.
Yeah. No, I can understand that. And you mentioned English teaching, in Korea, especially, at least in my experience, a lot of companies, they look at you and say, well, why are you an English teacher? It's like, well, no, look at my degree.
Well, no, I'm not.
So what job prospects do you think there are then? Like what potential industries do you think you can jump into? Or
I am very much interested in marketing. I feel like it's a combination of all my interests, like administratively, let's say. That's why I focus on management. My concentration is management. And also there's the creative side. My undergrad was in computer science. I loved it. It was very interesting. It was very challenging. But I felt like it could also open the doors for me to go into the more creative sides of technology, like graphic design. We didn't have a graphic design major, so I was really interested in that. And I felt like marketing could combine kind of all of my interests, whether it be it like administration or management or creativity and also like technology. So it's like the full package.
Yeah. And if you couldn't work in Korea, would you try and still work abroad? Would you go back home?
I would definitely go back home, and more likely than not apply to teach at my undergrad.
So you do one of those. Yeah. Almost like prodigal son. Interesting. Yeah. My experience, having graduated Yonsei as well was a lot different. I wasn't in the middle of a pandemic, so.
Very true.
things were a lot different. And I'm glad to see that the CDC is stepping up to help more with the career.
It's the CDC and the ODAR.
Yeah.
I feel like I feel like I can see the ODAR more this semester, especially because before I didn't really know of their existence, kind of. They're, actually this last Friday, they had a career fair.
Yes.
And they had asked some of the alumni from our school, obviously. Some of them were actually my friends, and they had really good careers right now. And they were telling everyone who attended like what they did and what they're doing now, and how they got these jobs, and how GSIS had helped them. And a lot of people mentioned, no, not a lot, actually. Some people mentioned the CDC website.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh yeah, that's very true. You do have to visit that website.
Yeah, because I remember I visited the CDC Facebook page and we try and look at jobs there. But yeah, I was struggling too, because it's like, can I get an internship? Can I afford monetarily to get an internship? What do you think about unpaid internships?
They're sad. I mean, I did not know that unpaid internships exist, because back in my country, I'm not sure, but I believe that all internships are paid internships. So this whole unpaid internship is a kind of a new concept to me, because I'm like, wait, internships are not paid? But if you get an internship, how are you going to live?
Yeah.
What are you going to do? So it's like you're working a full-time job without getting pay.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very bad, in my opinion. I do not like that.
Yeah. And honestly, my experience when I was looking at getting jobs after graduation, I was basically told, get an internship. And I had the same issues. I said, well, how am I supposed to eat?
Exactly.
I like to do this thing called not starve. And the response was basically said, why don't you have your parents send you money? And I was like, that's not an option for me. So, I personally, I think unpaid internships should be illegal. That's my personal opinion, because you're having someone work for free.
Yeah.
Do you think an internship is necessary to get a good job?
Not all the time, because I had an internship in a very good company and I did not get a job. But I feel like it would give you kind of a leg up in whatever industry you choose to go into, in whatever company you choose to go into, because they will look at your CV and think that, oh, they had a little bit of experience, even though it was an internship.
Yeah.
Then that could be taken into consideration. Also, they would like call up your previous mentor or whatever who worked with you during your internship and say like, so how was this person? So yeah, I do believe internships are important, but not very, very important.
Yeah. Yeah, because again, I think internships are a great idea in theory, but not paying somebody is, in my opinion, just outright
it's just
dishonest and
it's
wrong.
Basically like you're working this job and you have to work another job just to support yourself, just to live, just to eat, and that's not good. Yeah. It's not ideal. Yeah.
Well, so what do you think is going to happen? Obviously, with COVID, and if you're graduating in February, if I'm not mistaken, what do you think? Are you hoping that COVID's going to settle down? You could get a job real quick.
I really hope it ends soon. I really do. 2020 has been a difficult year. It has been a year of a lot of trials. It tried your patience. It tried your creativity. It had tried everything.
And I think one of the things that I tell myself and I tell all my other friends too, people are looking for jobs, is not a you thing. It's like, it's important to remember that we as a species are in the middle of a insanely global pandemic, the likes of which has not been seen in 100 years. And so we need to, try and keep our spirits up, but it is difficult. So I do understand. I feel bad.
I do wonder sometimes, what people did during the plague.
The Black Plague?
Whatever. It's a plague. It was a pandemic as well. The
Spanish flu, was World War I. People died, basically. And, Black Plague, people died.
Also died. COVID, people died.
Well, people are dying it's a very unfortunate thing. And we could have prevented this, and we didn't. We could have stopped it in its infancy. It could have stopped before it started to really get rolling, but people decided to be selfish.
Yeah.
And, lie about symptoms, mask wearing. Come on, wear a mask, guys. But that's about it. That's all the questions I have.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much for tuning into this episode of Asia Future Institute Conversation Series. I'm Scott Cardis. Please stay safe. See you next time.